Hello everyone, thank you for joining me for today's Daf Shevuot Daf 29 Amud 8. So finishing off on the last one. Abai said there are times when you find that the ruling of Ephra with regard to an oath not to eat 10 followed by an oath not to eat 9 applies, as in the case mentioned by the Master. As Rabbah says, in the case of one who says, on my oath I will not eat figs and grapes together, and then says, on my oath I will not eat figs, and he unwittingly ate figs, and set aside an offering for breaking the second oath, and afterwards he unwittingly ate grapes alone, he is exempt from liability for breaking the first oath. So what does it mean? If one takes an oath that he will not eat figs, and then takes another oath that he will not eat figs and grapes together, and he unwittingly ate figs, and set aside an offering for violating his oath, and then awaiting 8 grapes, he is not liable for eating the grapes. The grapes are like a half measure of his second oath, and one does not bring an offering when one consumes only a half measure. This ruling follows the opinion of Rabbah, which is in accordance with Rabbi Hanan's version of the text. Rabbah says, Hafar Hilchot Shevuot 4:14, Shulchan Aruch Yodea 238:6. The grapes are tantamount to a half measure of his first oath, which is not to eat figs and grapes together, and one is not liable to bring an offering for a half measure. Here also, where he said, on my oath I will not eat 10, if one took an oath not to eat 10 pieces, and then took an oath not to eat 10 or 9, and then with he ate 10, set aside an offering, and then with he ate 9, he does not bring another offering. Eating 9 constitutes only a half measure with regard to the second oath. This ruling follows the opinion of Abai, which is in accordance with Hanan's version of the text. Now, so the Rambam Sefer Shevuot 4:15 and the Ravid then, and said, on my oath I will not eat 9. And he ate 9 and set aside an offering for breaking his second oath. And later he ate the 10th. This 10th is tantamount to a half measure of its first oath, and one is not liable to bring an offering for a half measure. Which oath is an oath taken in vain? Edahu Shavu Shav. If one takes an oath about a matter known to be untrue, e.g. that a man is a woman or a woman is a man, he is liable for taking an oath in vain. This ruling is in accordance with the Mishnah. Similarly, it is written in the Jerusalem Talmud that one who takes an oath affirming the obvious, e.g. that the sky is a sky, or that a stone is a stone, or that 2 is 2, is liable for an oath taken in vain. Rambam Sefer Shevuot 1:4-5, Aruch Yodea 236:4. Mentioned in previous Mishnah 27b, it is when one takes an oath to deny that which is known. Neshanas es hayadua. The Jerusalem Talmud lists another type of oath taken in vain, an oath that asserts the obvious, e.g. an oath that 2 is 2. Since this is a matter known to all, taking an oath is an oath in vain, as ruled in the Rif. Although some understand the Rif's ruling to mean that this sort of oath is prohibited by rabbinic law, the Ritva argues that it is prohibited by Torah law, and that it is not mentioned in the Mishnah because the Tana of the Mishnah lists only those oaths taken in vain, and that formulated in a manner similar to the oaths on an utterance. To people to be true, for example, one says about a stone column that is made of gold, or about a man that he is a woman, or about a woman that she is a man. Another type of oath taken in vain is where one takes an oath about a matter that is impossible, e.g. if he says, if I did not see a camel flying through the air, or if I did not see a snake as large as the beam of the olive press. If one took an oath that he saw a camel flying through the air, and upon being asked, how can you take an oath in vain, replied that he saw a large bird and referred to it as a camel, the explanation is ignored, as no one refers to a bird as a camel. He is liable to receive lashes for taking an oath in vain. The Rama writes that one takes an oath and exaggerates a little in order to add force to his claim. He is not considered as having taken an oath in vain, and that's in the Rambam Sefer Shevuot 5:21, Aruch Yodea 236:5. Nachash Bekoras Beis Habad. Although the types of snakes usually found in Eretz Yisrael and Babylon are thin, there are snakes found in Asia and Africa that can reach lengths of over 7 meters, whose thickness is much greater than any olive press beam. The southern African python is one example of a snake with a notably thick body. Some snakes are capable of swallowing large creatures in their entirety. In the case of one who says to a witness, "Come and testify to me," and they replied, "On our oath, we will not testify for you." One who takes an oath to another that he will not testify on his behalf, despite having knowledge that has bearing on the case, or that he will not testify, should he come into possession of such information, receive lashes for taking an oath in vain, because it is a mitzvah to testify. Shevuot 5:15. This is an oath taken in vain, in that it is an oath to refrain from performing a mitzvah. Since it is a mitzvah to testify, if one knows facts that are relevant to another's case, it is not considered an oath of testimony, since a person does not falsely deny knowledge of the matter, but simply refuses to testify. That is an oath taken in vain, because it involves taking an oath to refrain from performing a mitzvah. Nishbala vata es a mitzvah. One who takes an oath to refrain from performing a mitzvah receives lashes for taking an oath in vain, and he is obligated to perform the mitzvah. Shevuot 1:6-5:14-15, 2:6-5. The examples of this include an oath not to build a sukkah, or not to take a lulav, or not to dump phylacteries. Type of oath is an oath taken in vain, for which one is liable to receive lashes if he takes the oath intentionally, and for which he is exempt if he takes it unwittingly. If one said, "On my oath I will eat this loaf," and later said, "On my oath I will not eat it." If one says, "On my oath I will eat this loaf," and then takes another oath that he will not eat it, the second oath is an oath taken in vain, and he receives lashes for it. And he ultimately does not eat the loaf, and that's for violating his first oath. And the Shevuot 5:13, 2:38-16. Whether it is an oath on an utterance, and the second is an oath taken in vain, as he took an oath to perform an action that would violate his previous oath. If he ate it, he violated the prohibition against taking an oath in vain. If he did not eat it, he violated the prohibition against breaking an oath on an utterance. Gemara. With regard to an oath taken in vain that denies that which is known to people, it says it's considered known to people when it is a fact that is known to three people. An oath denying that which is known is deemed to be an oath taken in vain if the matter is known by at least three people. One does not receive lashes for an oath taken in vain if it denies matter known only to highly educated people. Shevuot 5:22. The Mishnah describes an oath taken in vain when one takes an oath about a matter that is impossible. E.g., when one says, "If I did not see a camel flying through the air," the Gemara points out the Tana of the Mishnah did not say, "On my oath I saw." What is the meaning of "if I did not see"? Abai said, the many language of the Mishnah teach, "On my oath I saw." Rava said, this is part of a larger statement where one says, "Let all the produce in the world be prohibited from me if I did not see a camel flying through the air." With regard to the oath, "If I did not see a camel flying through the air," Ravina said to Ravashi, "That's the man who took this oath to a great bird and named it for himself camel. And when he took the oath according to his own understanding. If he would say that we follow his mouth, i.e. generally accept the meaning of what one says, we do not follow his understanding, i.e. his own private meaning, well, isn't it taught otherwise in a Bible? When they administer an oath to him in court, the judges say to him, know that this is not according to your own understanding. Even though one's statement must be in agreement with his intention for a vow or oath to take effect, if one vows or takes an oath according to the way his words are understood by the general public, then he cannot claim that his intention differed from what he actually said. Since his oath or vow was according to that understanding, the oath taker is obligated by his oath according to the usual meaning of the words. Therefore, when a court administers an oath, and stipulates the oath is not according to any private understanding of one taking the oath, but according to the understanding of the court. Sefer Aflaa, Hilchot Shevuot 2:15-16, and Hilchot Nadam 2:3, Shulchan Aruch Yehuda 210:1, and Choshen Mishpat 87:20. Now we administer this oath to you, but according to our understanding, and according to the understanding of the court. What is the reason that they say this? Is it not because we say perhaps he gave tokens? It's kudurei. According to the Aruch, this term is referring to round tokens used as game pieces, which are made of pottery or another inexpensive material like bone. Although the precise etymology has not been conclusively determined, there are similar words in Greek and Persian. to his creditor, but he calls them for himself dinar, so that when he takes the oath, it is in accordance with his own understanding that he takes the oath. Since in principle it is possible for him to take an oath according to his private meaning of the words, the court insists that the oath it administers is to be understood according to the word's generally accepted meaning. Rav Ashi replies, no, the reason the court admonishes the oath taker is not that the oath can be interpreted according to the private meaning. There, when the court administers an oath, they explain that it is in accordance to their meaning due to deceptions like that of the reed in Rav's court. What does that mean? A kanya, a reed. The reed referred to in this context may refer to an item produced by papyrus sedge plant. This plant, which grows in streams and swamps, was used in various industries in ancient Egypt and elsewhere. The hard outer section was used as the weaving of mats, while the inner part was used to manufacture paper. These soft inner parts were also converted into strips with which items could be tied together. In this case, it seems that the reed was used as a hollow cane in which coins could be hidden. In that incident, someone handed his creditor a hollow reed, which he had secretly filled with coins to hold for him, and proceeded to take an oath that he had given him the money owed to him. Whereupon he took back the reed as the creditor was unaware of its contents. The court admonishes oath takers so that they do not think that they have fulfilled their obligation to take an oath if they engage in such chicanery. The Gemara suggests common hellbiter, and so we found that when Moses administered an oath to Israel that they would keep the Torah in Deuteronomy 29, 9-12, he said to them, know that I am not administering this oath according to your understanding, but according to the understanding of the Omnipresent and according to my understanding. And why not let him simply say to them, keep that which God said? Is it not that he insisted on admonishing them because he was concerned lest they direct the oath in their minds to idolatry, saying that they had taken an oath of loyalty to God but privately intending the oath to be for idolatry? This indicates that the content of the oath can be affected by the oath taker's private meaning. Gemara rejects, says no. Moses explicitly indicates that the oath was according to God's and his own understanding, because idolatry is also referred to with the word God, as it is written, and you shall not make with me gods of silver or gods of gold in Exodus 20:20. Therefore, the meaning of the oath is ambiguous. The Gemara suggests if private meanings do not affect the content of an oath, let Moses merely say to them, keep the Torah. The Gemara explains they could have taken an oath to keep only one Torah, either the written or the oral law, Torah. The Gemara suggests, and let him say, keep two Torahs. The Gemara explains the word Torah has a narrow meaning of a set of halachic procedures to Jewish people, but then have limited the oath of the law of Torah, the sin offering, or the law of Torah, the guilt offering. The Gemara suggests that Moses administered an oath to keep the entire Torah. The Gemara replies, that could have been understood as referring only to the prohibition of idolatry. As the Master says, the prohibition of idolatry is so severe that with regard to one who denies idol worship, it is as if he affirms the entire Torah. The prohibition against idolatry is considered equal in severity to all the other mitzvot combined. One who accepts idolatry effectively denies the entire Torah and the messages of all the prophets. Rambam Sefer Hamada Hilchot Avodah Zara 2:4, Sefer Zamanim Hilchot Shabbat 30:15. The Gemara suggests, and let him say to them, keep the mitzvah, i.e. that which you are commanded. The Gemara replies, this could have been understood as referring to only one mitzvah. The Gemara suggests, let him say, keep mitzvot, i.e. in the plural. The Gemara replies, that could be understood as referring to only two mitzvah. The Gemara suggests, let him say all the mitzvah in their entirety. The Gemara replies, that could be understood as referring to the mitzvah of ritual fringes. As the Master says, the mitzvah of ritual fringes is equivalent to all of the mitzvot. One should be extremely careful with regard to performing the mitzvah of ritual fringes correctly, as the Torah, see Numbers 15:39, describes all the mitzvahs that have been dependent upon it. Rambam Sefer Hahava Hilchot Sisis 3:12. The Gemara suggests, and let him say to them, keep 630 mitzvah. The Gemara replies, according to your reasoning, let him simply say, take the oath according to my understanding. Why do I need him to say according to the understanding of the Omnipresent? Thank you for listening, and wish you all the best. Bye.